It's safe to say that it's not really an easy time being a Chelsea fan. Believe you me, I can vouch for that. I am unfortunately one of them. But their recent loss to Manchester City in the Premier League has left them in a very precarious position when it comes to their top 4 hopes or even a long shot at winning the league. Both of those seem like it's unlikely to happen at this point in time, and it does seem like a lot of questions should be asked about what exactly is going wrong at Chelsea and if there is any need yet to press the panic button. Because truth be told, it hasn't been the best of times for the club, and it does look like, as things stand, things could very well get worse before they start getting better. Why exactly is that the case? Well, that's what I'm here to explain to you in this video. So without further ado, let's quickly get down to why we think Chelsea are very much on the verge of a crisis, but why there's no real need to worry as of yet. First off, if you talk about their recent form, so as things stand, they're 10th in the Premier League table, which is hardly ideal. It's not where they want to be. Chelsea see themselves as one of those clubs who should be competing for, at the very least, a top 4 finish, and they're nowhere near that right now. In fact, they're 10 points off the club in 4th place right now. So that's hardly ideal, considering the fact that you're about halfway through the season and you're 10 points adrift of where you think you're supposed to be. It's an indictment of where the club are right now, and obviously it's nowhere near ideal. And the worst part is that they have 5 losses in their last 7 matches. So if you look at their last 7 matches across all competitions, 5 of those games have ended in defeat, and that includes defeats to the likes of Newcastle United, Aston Villa, Manchester City, as we mentioned. So not really the best of times, because they are being beaten by clubs across the Premier League table spectrum. But why exactly has that been happening, given that up until last year Chelsea were one of those teams who were competing for a top 4 position and also for trophies in whatever competition they were competing in? Well, a lot has changed since then, most notably, of course, the fact that the club's ownership changed hands. Roman Abramovich, the owner since 2003, was forced to sell due to, of course, the ongoing situation in Russia and Ukraine. And the club was taken over by new American owners led by Todd Boehly and the Clear Lake Capital Consortium. Now, they are eyeing long-term growth rather than the kind of scattergun approach that Chelsea fans and fans in general were so used to when it came to the club. So as things stand, there's really no pressure on new head coach Graham Potter. In fact, he was brought in significantly because he was seen as someone who could oversee a long-term rehaul. And believe you me when I say, you're going to hear the words long-term a lot in this particular video. In fact, there have been credible news reports saying that a Champions League spot is not really the benchmark for Potter. So even if he fails to make it to the top 4, he's not going to be sacked, because the club owners understand that the rehabilitation that Chelsea need will be something that will require some growing pain. Evidence of this can in fact be seen in the fact that they are very much noted as a club in transition by people in general, but also if you take a deeper look, recently they filled in a key position of a football director. They had lost their previous football director Petr Cech when he chose to resign after the change in ownership, and even football director Marina Graniskova had quit because she chose not to be part of the new regime due to her loyalty to Roman Abramovich. And the new owners are looking to not just fill in key positions, but also eyeing longer-term stability, which wasn't really the case under Roman Abramovich previously. There was very much a process of hire and firing managers, short-term success, and no real planning for the long term, even though the club tried to change that towards the latter parts of his tenure. And in fact, not just when it comes to long-term growth, the club's owners have also identified that they need long-term investment. So there are things which are being planned for the club, not just in terms of the first team investments, but also the youth academies, also bringing their training grounds up to speed, and perhaps more crucially, the project of building a new stadium to house Chelsea fans, because again, Stamford Bridge is seen as a smaller stadium for a club that is aspiring to be in the Champions League, because again, if you have a 60-70k seater stadium, there is potential for more money to flow through the tills. That is why, as of now, Chelsea and Chelsea fans are not really too panicked by the entire situation. But there is a big but here, is that Chelsea are a club that unfortunately or otherwise are used to sustain success. In fact, even though I say right now that they're a club in crisis, they were Champions League winners as recently back as the 2020-21 season. They won the European Super Cup and the FIFA Club World Cup in subsequent seasons. So it's not exactly like they're a team that are starved of success the way, say, certain other giants in England currently are, or even across the pond really. But their last Premier League title came all the way back in the 2016-17 season, which paints a picture of a club that are good at getting a top 4 finish and competing in cup competitions, but not necessarily league competitions, which require the kind of sustained consistency that the likes of Manchester City and Liverpool only have really been able to pull off in recent seasons. The real question is, will fortunes change soon? And that's a $1 million question, not a $1 billion question, truth be told, because there is a lot of focus on trying to get things right for the long term rather than just rushing through managers and short-term fixes. There is a plan in place by the new owners to actually bring in a system that ensures sustained success and long-term sustainability, not just in terms of success but also the club's finances, because they can't be pumping in money forever. The club will be expected to become a money-making entity in due course, and to be fair, the club does have plenty of sponsorship and opportunities for revenue growth, but those will need to be tapped into, and that's not something that happens overnight. So to sum up the original question, yes, in the short term, Chelsea very much are a club in crisis. However, there is very much a plan in place, and that is why, most notably, when Chelsea lost this particular match to Manchester City, there wasn't really much mutiny from the stands. In fact, the club's fans politely applauded Chelsea off the pitch. They were very, very gracious in defeat, and that is perhaps because even match-going fans know that the club right now are not in a state to be looking to compete against Manchester City. Manchester City and Liverpool are the established hierarchy clubs of England right now. Chelsea are aiming to get there, but they aren't quite there yet, and they know that there is a lot of change to be made in terms of the managerial long-term direction as well as the boardroom level. So they are being patient. Whether that patience is rewarded or not remains to be seen, but I can again tell you this as a Chelsea fan, it's nice to see a little bit of building towards the long term rather than just short-term success and then seeing what happens later. However, that's just how I feel about it. What do you guys think? Well, you can let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tap that bell icon so you know when we're going live or uploading a new video for you guys. You can also go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And last but not least, download the AajTak app. Thank you all once again for joining us. As always, I've been Shane Dice. I hope to see you with us very, very soon when we're uploading or going live in our next video. But for now, goodbye.